Baby Park is a Mario Kart track with one of the wildest histories behind it. From its humble beginnings in Double Dash to its shocking state in Mario Kart Tour, Baby Park has gone through a lot, making it one of the worst tracks in some of the games it appeared in, and one of the best tracks in other games it appeared in. It's a phenomenon that's very unique to this track. Despite all the changes this course has had over its 20-year history, Mario Kart fans have argued whether or not Baby Park is a masterpiece or complete garbage ever since its inception in 2003. But what caused all these crazy ups and downs in Baby Park? Well, let's find out. Join me today as we take a look at why Baby Park has become one of the most polarizing tracks in the Mario Kart community. This is the volatile history of Mario Kart's Baby Park. Baby Park's maiden voyage was in 2003's Mario Kart Double Dash in the Mushroom Cup. The design had a simple concept behind it: make an oval really f***ing good, and good they made it. The track was a simple red and blue oval with some pictures of baby Mario characters scattered about, and even a roller coaster that circled the track. Despite its deceptive laziness, Baby Park was surprisingly an instant classic for several reasons. For starters, the lap count. Unlike any other course in the Mario Kart franchise up to this point, Baby Park had 7 laps in it instead of the typical 3. This was done to extend the extremely short layout of this track, and I think it was a good idea. But what also set it apart from all the other tracks in this game was the pure chaos it encouraged. See, this is where Baby Park really shines. At face value, you might think that Baby Park is just a boring, lazy track. And while the latter may be true, Baby Park was far from the dull circle that people initially believed it to be. The reason for this didn't lie in the layout of the track though, but rather the gameplay of Double Dash. All the different items being confined to such a small track layout made Baby Park complete and total chaos. Items and racers are flying around everywhere in this course. It's nuts. This is only made better by insane special items like the Bowser Shell and giant bananas being scattered all around the track. It's for this very reason that Baby Park solidified itself as an iconic Mario Kart track. However, just because it was iconic didn't mean it was loved by all fans. Baby Park instantly became a topic of debate among Mario Kart fans, with almost everyone either loving the pure chaos or hating the simplicity of it, with no between. For the most part though, the general consensus was that Baby Park was a good track. But with the reliance on the items and gameplay of a Mario Kart game to make Baby Park a good track, this presented multiple issues for its future, which would be highlighted in its next rendition. Baby Park would make its next appearance in Mario Kart DS's Banana Cup, where it was majorly downgraded. Almost every positive quality about the track found within Double Dash was absent here. The 7-lap count was reduced to 5, the vibrant colors were subdued, and they removed the damn roller coaster. Why even bother at that point? At least there are these baby bottles, they're kinda topical. As you might not expect though, these problems weren't even the biggest ones. The biggest problems with Mario Kart DS's Baby Park were the scale and the gameplay. Something that I immediately noticed whenever returning to this rendition of Baby Park is how wide it feels compared to Double Dash. Maybe it's because there's only one character per kart in DS, but Baby Park suddenly felt so empty. I don't know if the track was actually scaled up or if the racers are smaller, but I seldom find myself bumping into other racers on this track. Making the track less crowded makes it feel so boring. But this is only compounded by the fact that the gameplay of Mario Kart DS was much more refined and balanced, featuring no special items and much less chaos. Things like the shells and bananas being 2D sprites also made it overall way easier to dodge them. This meant that the lack of chaos in Mario Kart DS's gameplay made for a lack of chaos in Baby Park. As a result, Mario Kart DS's Baby Park is regarded by most as one of the worst tracks in this game. Honestly, maybe it was a good thing the lap count got lowered in this game because it's such a slogfest here. Going from Double Dash's Baby Park to the DS version was like going from crack to sugar. This was a massive fall from grace for Baby Park. Its unique reliance on the gameplay of Mario Kart had become a curse, and as a result, it remained unused for an entire decade. But Baby Park would make its return after a 10-year hiatus as a DLC track in Mario Kart 8. Very minor design changes were made, but these small changes were a significant improvement from Mario Kart DS. In fact, some of these changes actually made it better than in Mario Kart Double Dash. First and foremost, the scale of this track was fixed, and there were now 12 racers instead of 8, so it was much more crowded and chaotic like the original. They even brought the track back up to 7 laps. This is a minor change, but it's much appreciated. Heck, they even got the roller coaster back and expanded the park theme to a massive proportion. There's a massive baby castle now, there's a Bowser ship, a Ferris wheel, and even Luigi's mansion. There's incredible attention to detail all throughout this course. There was also a slight anti-gravity tilt to the track, which at first may seem gimmicky and pointless, but that was far from the case. See, when anti-gravity is active, it also allows you to gain a speed boost when you bump into other racers. Since there's now 12 racers on this track and it's scaled down ever so slightly, you're almost always bumping into players and gaining speed boosts around the track. This adds to the fun and chaos of Baby Park, but it was only the start. Now item boxes move around this track rather than remaining stagnant like in previous renditions. This was a total game changer. It allowed for a constant flow of items to be given to every player all the time, rather than just a fixed spot within the track. All these small changes had such a big impact on the track, and it was in the best state it had ever been in up to this point. Nintendo realized Baby Park was beloved not for its design or layout, but rather for its chaotic energy. As such, they took that and harnessed it in this game. But for Baby Park, the story doesn't end here. You'd think that after such fantastic improvements to Baby Park and Mario Kart 8, it could never fall from grace. But unfortunately, that's not the case. This is where the volatility of Baby Park comes into play. The improvements made to Baby Park had more to do with the unique mechanics of Mario Kart 8, rather than the changes to its layout. Baby Park is extremely unique to all other courses in Mario Kart for this very reason. Whereas a course like Cheeseland was improved in Mario Kart 8 by completely revamping the layout and adding a lot more depth, the same couldn't be done for Baby Park. It relies more on the gameplay of the actual Mario Kart itself. Baby Park suffers massively whenever there's a slight flaw in the gameplay that surrounds it. So unfortunately, it can never cement itself as a good or bad track definitively. This brings us to the most recent rendition of Baby Park from Mario Kart Tour's 2022 Cat Tour. Just as quickly as Baby Park's problems had been remedied, they returned. The anti-gravity in 12-player races simply didn't exist in Mario Kart Tour, therefore they were unable to be in the track. They even removed the roller coaster. Like, why? There was no reason for that. The lap count was reduced from 7 to 5 once more, and while there are special items in Mario Kart Tour, they still couldn't save this track from being a snooze fest. The theming used in Mario Kart 8 was still there, but the track itself was a sad shell of what once was. It's not shocking to me that this is the most hated version of Baby Park. Considering Mario Kart Tour isn't exactly a beloved title, and Baby Park's fun hinges on being in a Mario Kart that has good gameplay, it's not surprising everyone hates this rendition of Baby Park. But this wasn't the end of the story for Baby Park, as for the first time in its 20-year history, Baby Park actually received changes to its layout. Kind of. Let me explain. Within Mario Kart Tour, there are tracks known as remixes. These tracks take a regular old track and add new sections to them that give them a completely new feel. So when Baby Park was added to Mario Kart Tour, it received not one, but two remixes. The T variant and the R variant. So were these the saving grace for Baby Park and Mario Kart Tour? Will this track end its history on a high note? Let's take a look. The R variant of Baby Park isn't too interesting. It adds a lot of ramps and dash panels to the course, which is a cool addition, but it also makes the item boxes stagnant, which downgrades the chaos. At best, it's a net neutral for the course, as the boosters add more depth, yet the items aren't as evenly spread out throughout the track. So overall, the R variant of Baby Park ends up being interesting, but overall still less chaotic than in Mario Kart 8. But what about the T variant? This is where things get intriguing. See, the T variant makes Baby Park into a more quote-unquote regular track, lowering the lap count to 3, but seriously expanding the track. Now, we actually leave the main loop and venture out into the amusement park, with the loop of the track being much larger. There's even this glider section now where we get a good view of the track and all the things around it. Out of any rendition of Baby Park, this one has to be the most unique by far. It takes a much different direction than the typical design philosophy for Baby Park. But does it really deliver? I'd say no, for a few reasons. First of all, even with these extra segments, this course is super short. It still boils down to a slightly larger oval that lost 2 laps. But another thing, these additions kinda ruin the pacing of Baby Park. While yes, the amusement park theme could lend itself very nicely to a full-length track, it feels clunky and forced here. Just slapping stuff on an already finished track and calling it a remix doesn't make it good. In fact, I think these changes honestly downgrade Baby Park. They take away what makes this track so special, which is close quarter combat. With the T variant of Baby Park, it's so large that there's almost never items moving around the track because they just fly off the sides of the new segments. So unfortunately, both tour variants of Baby Park didn't bring the track back into the spotlight, rather only buried it deeper. It was an honest effort to make this track better in a flawed Mario Kart game, but in the end, it failed to mask the mediocrity. And this is where the story of Baby Park ends as of now. Such a simple track had so many ups and downs and cemented itself as one of the most unique in the series. To this day, it's one of the most loved and hated tracks amongst the community, and it's easy to see why. Baby Park can be an either incredibly fun and chaotic experience or driving around an oval for an agonizing amount of time. Personally, I've always loved Baby Park since I first played it. The concept is simple, and while it seems lazy, it's good old chaotic Mario Kart fun. It seems most of you agree with me on this, despite the surprising amount of ups and downs Baby Park has had. But it seems that no matter what Nintendo does with this track, Baby Park will always have a volatile nature to it. Unless you change the fundamental concepts of Baby Park, it's always going to depend on Mario Kart's gameplay to make it or break it. Anyways, this is the end of Baby Park's journey for now, but I can't wait to see what the future holds for this track. Probably lots of ovals. This Tricky Nick production was brought to you by Pal EX, Robert, British Chicken, and Matthew P. Thanks for watching.